Welcome back to my humble abode. I am Yorkie the Tail Spinner, taking you through Vagrus, the Riven Realms. Now, we tried this before, and I had a rather dismal failure. I think I've learned since that what I was doing was pushing people constantly on through forced march. Nobody likes that. So it's time to restart with bedtime stories from yours truly. So, wasteland mode, nothing beside remains. Yes, it's the Ozymandias poem.
Ah, yes. A Vagrus. What? Fair.
Right. I think we will totally change who we are. The Kalani people of the East originate from coastal clans who survived the fall of Kimura. Their progress and wealthy realm rejoined the Empire in the Golden Age and contributed considerably to the rise of imperial society and culture. The calamity struck and vastly changed the face of the eastern regions, erasing Kalani cities and burning the wonderful forests into a formation of glass and crystal. People survived as three separate clans and rejoined the Empire when it re-emerged. Crystal is everywhere in Sargot Kala, the richest and most important of the three regions. So crystal harvesting, crystal growing, and crystalmancy have become the major occupation of the region. Kalani are considered good mediators and stoic, strong-willed people. Arcane law perk, strong-minded perk, crystal gear, and crystal lamp item. And we were. Let's see. Where are we from? Yes, being a tail spinner, of course. We were known entertainers. And traders as well. It will be free play as always. And so we have it. Site 10. Traversing. You can use resourcefulness to turn march points into movement points. The campaign map. Navigation. The history of the area was important to me. And indeed, gaining a magical sense. Being good at evaluating also came in useful. We're charismatic. And it said we were perceptive as well. Some would question that. And the gift of the gap, of course, allowed persuasion. Yorkie the Tail Spinner. Ah, of course. I forgot. It will not allow the title. It only allows one word name.
Curious, curious. I am humbled to have made your acquaintance, good master. I am sure that many great adventures await you on your journeys. It was an honor talking to you, good master, but these old bones are aching, and I must rest now. Oh, yes. Perhaps we will talk in the morning. Perhaps we will. May the gods guard your sleep.
Sleep slowly but steadily begins to overwhelm you. It is the late hour, the exhausting journey, or the mesmerizing voice of the old man. You faintly recall stumbling to your tent and crawling inside. Then it is only darkness. Morning creeps up quietly on the arid wasteland. You wake up and step out of your tent and into the crisp air, yawning, stretching, and blinking in the orange light of the rising sun. The fiery orbs, warm rays, are welcome in the stark contrast to how you all will feel in a few hours. Your crew, groggy, still after an early start, shambles around camp, busy with their chores. Some of them are still huddled around their dying fires. You look to the horizon to the north and find it empty against the morning haze. Yet you know that beyond that jagged line, the way station of Konax awaits. A short stop on your way to a proper city. Less than a week of trudging through the plains and you reach Tarzags Shelter. You hope to rest there and find much needed work. In fact, this was the reason you took the Comitatus north to Terra Supra, the lands beyond. New opportunities. The previous Vagrus of this travelling company perished several weeks ago. And even though you worked for her for only a few months, and indeed are new to this wandering business, the crew elected you to take her place because she trusted your abilities. On in Vagrus, one of your guards walks up to you and draws you out of your reverie. That old geezer you talked to last night is bound to leave and wanted to say goodbye before he does. You nod and head to the campfires. You find the old storyteller in the process of packing his meager equipment while whistling a tune. You clear your throat discreetly. Thank you for coming, good master, the old man says, still fiddling with his sling bag. I will not go to Tarzags Shelter with you. My path leads elsewhere. I am grateful to you for letting me travel with your Comitatus, yes, and I hope I've earned my keep. Because he had no coin nor anything of value when you came across him in the middle of nowhere 3 days ago, you allowed the old man to travel with you and eat from your stores in exchange for entertaining your crew with stories along the way. And true enough, no hour has passed since without a tale being recited by the strange fellow. He even made an effort to entertain you while sitting on the campfire last night. Be that as it may, you allowed him to tag along as an act of kindness. The old man turns to you and smiles innocently. I may be able to repay you more properly by giving you some advice, yes? If you don't mind me saying, good master, you are only starting your venture as a Vagrus, and perhaps you could use such wisdom. Sure, listen to his advice. Alright, first off, there are a lot of rumours going around in a city as great as grim Tarzag. But even in smaller settlements too, listen to these. For there's often truth to such gossip. To such talk, and gossips can guide you to business opportunities, valuables, or interesting places. Often fresh news is the most valuable commodity you can possess, especially until you have a sizable cargo hold to haul large amounts of goods across the wasteland. If I were you, I'd find some work as soon as possible, preferably something your crew can manage without much difficulty. Perhaps one of them trading houses? You could also find some passengers who are willing to pay for the security of your Comitatus can provide. Almost every Mancio has folks looking for travelling companions. The old man scratches his scraggly beard thoughtfully. Before setting out, it is best to decide what destination will be and prepare accordingly. Wandering around aimlessly in the wasteland is a sure way to get killed or to starve, good master. Yet one's chances are better when the burden can be shared with trusty companions. I'd start looking for such folk as soon as I'm in the big city. There's a man I know in Tarzag, now that I think about it, who could help you with such matters and more. I'm listening. The chap is called Braxius, strange fellow really, not only because of his peculiar lineage. You see, he runs a shop. Ah yes, he'll buy any trinket off of you that you do not need any longer. He may sell you something useful too, who knows? I just remembered now. He once sold a Gavranian wood talisman to an orc mercenary who... The old man stops abruptly when he notices the expression on your face. He smiles apologetically. Where was I, good master? Ask him where you can find this man called Braxius. Oh, aye. Braxius' shop, just east of the Calrish market, in a small street that has a dark stone statue of Comitatus over a fountain. Best of luck. Erafons be with you, good master. I'd better go now. You thank him and wish him well, then take your leave. You watch the old man as he walks away along into the wilderness. It is time to set out. Tarzags Shelter is waiting. But before that, it would behoove you to visit Konax Way Station, only about a day's travel to the north. You could obtain much needed supplies and news there. Maybe even find work, who knows? You set out across the wasteland. And we are heading north. We have 8 movement and 7 march. I can get to Konax in 2, with 6 movement used. The Comitatus descends into the great basin that shelters Konax Way Station from the worst of the jagged waste dust and rock storms. Even at this distance from the walled compound, you can see the outpost is vastly overcrowded. Dozens of Comitati and literally hundreds of travellers swarm confines of Konax Station, which is now surrounded by makeshift camps and improvised mansios. Arrive at the gate. A pair of gruff-looking mercenaries walk out to meet you and give you a half-hearted hail. The first one to speak is a tall, lean-tainted fellow, armed with a barbed spear. But to say you folk just keep popping up like rays around a rotting corpse, he sighs heavily. All right, move your ass over there and try to settle in without fuss. He points to a large area outside the low stone walls, just northwest of the way station itself. Ask what is up with his attitude. There is a brief pause, but then the mercenary sighs again and seems to deflate, his frustration giving way to weariness. Listen, I did not mean to bite your head off, stranger. It's not your fault, it's this. His gaze wanders around the way station with disgust. Now granted, all this crowd was pretty fun and profitable in the beginning. But now the whole place looks and smells like a war camp. Soon after it began, folks started bickering for all sorts of shit. The best camp spot, more water from the well, more food, and on and on and on. Fights broke out, some of our guys got badly hurt when they went in to break them up. The other merc spits, you ask them if he knows the reason for the sudden influx of Comitati and travellers. There's all sorts of rumours, but you better ask around yourself, as I ain't sure what to believe anymore. The tall fellow answers, and please just don't give us a hard time, alright? Move your people and stuff to the place I pointed and everything will be dandy. With that he bows his head and lights up a bogweed reefer. You nod to the mercenaries and lead the Comitatus to the designated spot. Cruise strikes camp, and everyone is settled in after a quarter of an hour. Time to explore. Sheltered in an arid basin surrounded by stone walls and guarded by grim mercenaries. It provides all the illusion of safety most travellers crave, yet a quick glance around at the many signs of past destruction tells a tale of raiders, rock storms, or worse. Despite rebuilding time and time again, it is not long before the jagged waste claims his place for good. Travellers gather at the guarded compound to enjoy a little rest. The whole compound is crowded with people, travellers, Comitatus crews, vagrants, mercenary warbands, trading house agents, smugglers, prostitutes, thieves, and of course beggars. The largest stone buildings housing the tavern is filled to the brim with customers, so much so that you cannot get inside for a drink. Luckily, they had the sense to set up a bar outside too, and the kitchens try to serve as many of the clientele as possible. Should you be into jackra meat steaks or fried horrorflava, that is. The noise and the stench and sweat of booze make you feel like you're in a war camp. Asking around, you hear of several organizations looking for transportation of goods and personnel. Eat, drink, and chat with the travellers. After ordering a mug of mushroom ale and some food, you sit down on a bench under dusty awnings and take a look around. There are all kinds of people here. Ferocious-looking orc mercenaries arm wrestle at a long table nearby, laughing out loud at bawdy jokes. A tainted woman juggling knives with 6 long, 3-jointed arms. Intimidating dragonkin warriors in colourful steel armour. Tarkian traders lounging on large pillows around a small portable table with cups of coffee and a hookah. A dwarf selling scavenged junk from the back of a tumble-down cart. Even weird insect people you have never seen before, chittering away in their melodious language. There are some other vagri that you can talk to, and soon learn the reason for the state of this place. Apparently, the Imperial legions have closed off the only pass through the Sebis Mountains in the south not too long ago, turning back anyone and everyone on both sides. This plunged the travel plans and business enterprises of many into utter chaos. People suspect that this is the reaction to the strange earthquake several weeks ago, and the terrible windstorms that followed. The winds have been crazier than usual ever since many people engulfed by them complain about having nightmares and constant headaches. Ask about the blockade. A small, pot-bellied, swarthy bandol man, reputedly a spice trader, tells you that the tale of his encounter with the soldiers at the pass just several days ago. They told him a new senatorial decree forbids anyone except military personnel passing through the mountain from either direction due to concerns for their safety. No further explanation was given, and it looks like a small army had joined the garrison at the Twin Towers, the forts guarding the pass. The Legionnaires mean business too. The bandol trader waves his hand dismissively. I don't advise going down there and playing tough. It's clear that the Imperials truly and well shat themselves for some reason, and I doubt they will ever tell you the reason why. The blockade has caused great uproar and will surely continue to do so, when more and more people realise they are practically cut off from the lands and provinces south. Hardest hit are vagri such as yourself, who now have to rethink their destinations entirely. Ask something else. Ask about the legions. A tall, lean Shardak woman in long, blonde, braided hair talks about being stopped by a legionnaire patrol who turned back during her ranging southwest. You are sure that she and her shady companions are either bandits or slavers. More of the fuckers seem to be moving south, I tell you, she spits. There's something going on. Folks speak of coming across crowds of the tin heads travelling down the Empire's road. She leans closer and whispers, her breath stinking of cheap booze. Some say that strange beasts roam the wasteland, that ever since the quake, something really bad is crawling all over the southern wastes. Whatever is going on seems to be connected to the phenomena over at the Singing Winds that many people talk about. Mad windstorms, strange dreams, and voices on the wind. Ask something else. Ask about the winds and dreams. A young but uncharacteristically talkative Ashkelite Novice, has a sizable audience gathered around him as he relates what he has gathered on the topic of the winds that have gone mad. It all started weeks ago with an earthquake. People say that the epicenter was somewhere southwest of here. Since then, the wind has changed. Almost everyone here has had bad dreams or heard strange voices in the wind. The furthest southwest one goes, the more intense it gets. Many of his audience complain about headaches they get ever since they heard the voices. There is a hushed talk of travellers going insane, and their brains literally burning to a crisp. No such talk is difficult to believe. Ask people if there's available work for your Comitatus. You learn that while most travellers are trying to figure out what to do next, the representatives of several organisations are looking for Vagrus to take their cargo north, mainly to Tarzags Shelter. And then we have the stories in alignment. Do something else. Talk to the agents of factions looking for someone to haul goods and take passengers. A quick survey of the options reveals several factions that are willing to pay you for hauling their cargo and taking some people to Tarzags Shelter to the north. There are agents of a trading house trying to cut losses, as well as a bunch of shady fellows, probably smugglers, who promise that you will not regret taking them and their stuff to the great city. Another group of pilgrims, some pilgrims who wanted to reach a shrine in the south. Now we shall turn back towards the shelter. Last but not least, there is a company of foreign merchants from the Dragonlands looking for a new market. Whoever you choose, you will not be able to strike a deal with another group, and you will have to make sure that the goods and passengers arrive at their destination safe and sound. I think we'll deal with the smugglers, to be honest. It takes a little negotiation to strike a deal, because the smugglers insist on dancing around the subject for a while. Eventually you agree to take the 4 of them to Tarzags Shelter, along with their cargo of bogweed. Though the goods are practically contraband, they assure you that you will not have to deal with actually getting all of it through the city gates. Their membership of the Carpenters Guild should be enough assurance that they will honour the deal. As per the agreement, you have to travel to the shelter without unnecessary delay, and they will add their remaining supplies to your stores when you arrive. You will be handsomely compensated when you reach the city's gates. Load the goods, Konax. And we've done that. But it's time to leave. But before we do, I do not know what would be useful. I know we can take some of that. We have luxury wine to trade. And we can't take any more of it though. I guess that is going to be it for now. So I don't know the trading logs, do I? Minus 20% consumption worker and minus 10% slave. Wouldn't hurt to have awnings. What are skewers for? Leave vigilance, and +1 perceptive. Load the cargo. After your crew loads the cargo, your newcomers takes their places along the line and on the carts. They remind you that going anywhere else other than Tarzags Shelter renders your agreement null and void. You set out. And so it is that we must go north. Not a long distance by the look of it, but still. That will take 1 action. And then we will camp. We'll pay now. And we will end the day. Right. We have 8 moves. 2, 4, 6, 8. And so we camp. Still with everyone happy. And end the day. And follow the road 2, 4, 6, 8. And once again we camp. Two, 4, 6, 8. Two, 4, 6. Probably 8 up to there. So one more day after this. And yes, you see, by not moving so swiftly and draining everyone, we're doing much better. Sudden gales and odd winds are no strangers to wanderers of the wasteland such as you, but even you have to admit that there is something different about these gusts. It's almost as if there were voices on the wind, barely audible, just beyond the threshold of perception, whispers. People stop in their tracks to listen and frown in concentration. The whole experience is unnerving. You calm them, ordering them to focus on and get a move on. The crowd trudges on, or the crew, trying not to think about it. Eventually the wind dies down. That's 5. We have 4 left. We can spare 1 forced march point, I think. And there we are, at the next destination. The Comitatus is in sight of the nearby settlement, eager to get some well-deserved rest. But what do the people who you took to Konax say about all this? They seem happy to have reached their destination. The great Blackblood Mountain towers ahead, crowned with black fortresses and jagged battlements. The single, immense wall that blocks entry into the bowels of the mountain looms ahead. Your passengers are making ready to depart, but first they check their cargo. Everything is in alignment. The cargo is in order, and your passengers quickly unload it. After giving you the remaining supplies, the one in charge hands you the agreed-upon fee for your services, and turns to you before leaving. You've just made an important friend, Vagrus. We get minus 30 bogweed, plus 150 supplies, plus 50 Carpenter's Guild. Smuggler's Leave, and we get 26 Lurg. Not bad. Not much profit there. The passengers are gone, as is their cargo. They will surely enter Tarzags Shelter on their own. As for you, the Dark City awaits. You reach the fortified gates of the great city. After waiting your turn in the line of chatting travellers, bleating beasts of burden, swearing loaders, exhausted slaves, decrepit pilgrims, and fellow vagri, you are greeted gruffly by guards under the shadow of the gatehouse. Approach them, we should be fine. Well, I certainly have no chance of success there, as I have no more illicit goods. An inspection follows. You have nothing to hide. Well, at least there is no way they can find it. After getting through the inspection, you are told that now you have to pay the gate tax. Then we pay it. The issue of the gate tax is concluded and you are free to enter the city. You head to your mansu immediately. Though the vast caverns and tunnels inside Blackblood Mountain merely gave refuge to Wally the Tarzag many centuries ago, the imperial city of Tenebritris, or as people have persistently called it, Tarzags Shelter, that sprang up there following the war, managed to transform into one of the most important settlements in the continent. Often referred to as Sergorod City, the shelter not only houses the Cathedral of the Raging One in its immense, ever-dark caves, but is also a bustling trading settlement and the centre of obsidian harvesting in the region. Thousands toil and haggle under the wrought iron chandeliers every day, while servants of the Master of Curses deal out justice in the name of their malevolent god. Explore the city, you never know what you'll find. Forever in the twilight of the gigantic cavern, and lit sparingly by huge iron lamps, Tarzags Shelter is a bustling city of many opportunities and perils. One can find all sorts of interesting things if one looks. Go for a stroll. Following the clamour of voices raised, you come across a commotion gathered around a small impromptu fighting arena, where two men are getting ready to shed blood. You quickly learn from onlookers that what you are seeing is the culmination of a feud between two low-ranking nobles, Sandaris Malleus and Evara Benivius. Their competition for the attention of a local poet led them to many misdeeds against one another. And now they seek to settle the matter by having the strongest slaves fight to the death. There is also a shifty-looking fellow who has already taken on bets from several people. Let's place a bet. The fight commences after the local district's low-ranking magistrate gives the signal, and it takes quite long. The two slaves batter each other with clubs, cut on each other with obsidian blades, and throw one another around until one of them succumbs to his wounds. All the while the gathered crowd cheers and whoops at the suffering and brutality of the fighters. The poet, whose attention all this is supposedly for, keeps flirting with the serving wench, barely looking at the violence or at the nobles. In the end, Sandaris prevails, though, and he announces how he is now exclusively worthy of the artist's care. The crowd starts to dissipate. Talk about Dear Diary, a song by future artist Hoya of the 1980s in Earth Prime. Yes, Dear Diary. He's in love with my best friend, but she don't care 'cause she loves someone else. A terrible tale of the ages. You were lucky enough to have bet on the victor. You pocket your winnings from the shifty broker before he could disappear. No reason to stay any longer, you'll leave the plaza. Plus 3 lerg, that more than covers the the gate cost. Forever in the twilight of the gigantic cavern, lit sparingly by huge iron lamps, Tarzags Shelter is a bustling city of many opportunities. Yes, we know. Perhaps tomorrow. Now we have the Undercity. Beneath the large main caverns of Tarzags Shelter is the maze of tunnels and narrow streets that lacks the civic lights of the city and thus is in perpetual darkness. Locals call it the Undercity. Its notoriety is well founded. Crime and desperation thrive in the twilight. Walk around the lakes. The largest open part of the Undercity is a series of caves with dark, clear waters, forming underground lakes at their bottom. Inventive residents found a way to make up for lost living space, by building their dwellings on stilts and rickety scaffolding. Still, parts of the lake are fairly abandoned, and could even be considered tranquil. You walk around the lakes for a while, painfully aware of the things watching you from the sable depths. Visit the pleasure houses. I don't think we're going to spend time there. We're quite happy. Go to the bathhouse. The old bathhouse in the northeast side of the Undercity is well known around the city as the Loaders Guild base of operations. It is a large, decaying building of once beautiful marble, pillars, arches and domes. Quite reflective of the fate of the Collegium, really. You make your way to the gates, where a couple of rough-looking bouncers stop you. Entry only of the unofficial business mate, the head guard lets you know without enthusiasm. We've nothing to do there immediately, we're not borrowing money. Leave the Undercity while you still can. The Civic District. In the city of perpetual twilight, the Civic District is a welcome smudge of colour and brightness. Lamps are kept lit day and night, while soft music and song can be heard from the windows of marble villas. Streets are kept relatively clean and are rarely crowded, apart from the seasonal festivities and holidays which usually turn the district into a sea of people and storm of noise. Visit the gardens of Leviana. The gardens are reputed as a place of tranquility and a rendezvous point for lovers. Upon entering through the arch in its tall stone fence, you can see several people loitering here, most of whom are clearly here for neither tranquility nor love, but look more like some kind of gang members to you. Walk in the gardens. The gardens are huge, so it takes time to quite a while to explore it. You would expect the gardens to be primarily mushrooms given the conditions of the shelter, but to your surprise, there's a lot of variety beyond those. Thorny vines engulfing areas like thick green spiderwebs. Thickets of tree-sized fronds that undulate as if underwater. Pale luminescent flowers on clearings. Twisted stumps that look like grotesque tumours. And even structures of elongated trees with meaty leaves and wet mouths opening between them. The ceiling of the cavern is lower here, and the only sources of light are crystal lamps, placed quite far apart. So walking around feels like wandering in an underground jungle of sorts. Often the only sign of civilization is the presence of the occasional overgrown stone pillar and statues. No wonder people who want privacy in a bustling city like Tarzags tend to congregate here. Yet the whole place reeks of neglect and it's wildly overgrown. Talk to the Superintendent. Living in an overgrown shack at the back of Leviana's is a Superintendent, whose task is to look after the garden. A lean fellow with brown wise eyes and slight overbite, he welcomes you with a smile and a nod, and inquires how he can be of help. I have questions. Questions, I see. He smiles again. I'm not much of a sage, but I'll do the best I can. Ask about the gardens. Oh, this place. He's lost in thought for a few seconds. He's old. I guess I like that about it. A lot, actually. They say when Laviana died, many of her acolytes dispersed to the four winds, trying to outdo each other, and their master, really, by embarking on ambitious projects in the vein of what she had been known for doing. One of these students, whose name has been lost to history, founded a garden here of all places, no doubt wanting to demonstrate that fauna can evolve and survive in all but the direst of circumstances. Needless to say, the powers to be in this city at this time, worshipping dark gods and ruling with an iron fist, did not support these endeavours. Yet the student persisted, and by some kind of power that was at his command, managed to enhance and sustain growth in this cavern. Even to this day, this power remains, so much so, in fact, that one does not have to do much work when it comes to tending the garden. It tends to itself. A shame I'm not a student of herbology, then. Ask about the Superintendent. Me, he says, somewhat surprised. I'm a nobody, just a man who enjoys being left alone and living close to nature. No offence, I do enjoy talking to people every now and again, but I like it here, really, even if sometimes I feel constrained. I used to do a lot of things before this, though. Travelled the world, heard wise men talk, followed gods and priests. I even sold books at one time from a stall, if you believe it. But this age is not of books and writers, nay. You notice how carved figurines and statuettes line the shelves of the inside of his shack. A hobby of mine, one could say, figurative art, yet organic. I'm no master, but it helps kill time, and I often buy myself new ones. A collection of sorts. Another question, take your leave. Approach the gangs. The gangs that loiter around the central plazas and gazebos of the gardens are little more than an organised rabble. Who watches over the neighbourhood or even a set of paths inside Laviana's changes daily. Mostly petty, coinless nobles, self-proclaimed street artists, small-time criminals, and bogweed junkies make up these gangs. Since they do not belong to any collegium, they do not enjoy their protection, which makes them kind of jumpy. Yet it also makes them useful when you want to sell certain goods behind the backs of collegia. The plazas around the once beautiful central formations are considered neutral territory. You can approach the gangs here about business, though you have to admit the hungry eyes gazing at you from the ramshackle dens and under dirty taps makes you quite uneasy. I have nothing illegal to sell, so there's no point. You walk out of the central plaza, followed by shifty eyes, and only later notice that someone picked your pocket. Only one changer, which is fine. The gardens are reputed as a place for tranquility. Yes, we know. Leave the gardens. Alright, visit the Arena Maximus. Easily the largest building of the district, and perhaps the entire city, is the Arena Maximus, the grand fighting circle. It stands many stories tall, where Legio March Avenue and Comitatus Street meet. Effectively on the border of the Merchants and Civic Districts, its circular form is a masterpiece of imperial architecture, harkening back to ancient times, and its sands are said to have seen thousands of deaths. You walk up to its immense gate arch. A guard informs you that the arena is closed for the time being and will only open if there are games going on, either thanks to a worthy sponsor or due to seasonal festivities. Then there's nothing to do but leave. The Dragon's Nest Inn. The famous Dragon's Nest Inn is close to the traditional border of the market square, and thus in the vicinity of the city gate. Its exterior is not much to look at, a hodgepodge of old buildings leaning together at the foot of a cave wall. A red dragon is painted above the entrance, above which rows upon rows of windows indicate that the rooms are carved into the rock itself. The inside is much more impressive. The skeleton of a huge dragon provides the frame of the common room, with its curling spine and many ribs serving to support the ceiling and walls, while its immense skull was turned into a bar. The bartender gives out beverages and takes orders through the half-open jaws. The decoration is lavish but old, completed with paintings, a collection of silver goblets, vines that run along the dragon bone, and 2 fireplaces that provide a pleasant warmth. The rest of the establishment is beyond and above the common room, carved into the rock. The clientele is quite colourful, and lacks the usual derelicts that most taverns of the world have. Instead, you see wealthy merchants, vagary, foreign nobles, fastidious escort girls, emissaries, artists, mercenaries and travellers of all sorts here. Several passengers are looking for a Comitatus. No, I'm not going to the Crimson Gate right now. Leave the Dragon's Nest. The Bestiaris Arena. Bestiaris Arena is an old fighting pit, walled off from the streets across from the Civic District to the upper Undercity. Prices are lower here, and fighters need not be accepted into the circle of gladiators. All pit fights are against monsters, beasts, and dangerous animals. All of them are messy and are considered very entertaining. Consequently, the place is usually abuzz with a very colourful crowd, as are the watering holes, stalls, and pleasure houses of the block. The stench of animal waste, urine, and sweat is almost unbearable. The arena's owner runs it almost exclusively by slave attendants, who swarm the place clad in pale green tunics. We have no fighters, so there's no point in being there. Visit the public library. The buildings occupied by the Imperial Public Library take up 2 blocks on the western side of the district. The once pristine but now cracked and dirty marble main building has got to be among the greatest achievements of Imperial architecture. The amount of detail is simply amazing. Yet the sorry state of the stone itself is said to reflect that of the library itself, neglected by both Imperial officials and common people who it was meant to educate and inform. It slowly regressed and decayed into obscurity. A sign is attached to gigantic double doors that would lead into the main hall of the library saying temporarily closed. Nothing to be done, it seems, so we leave. The infirmary. The infirmary, called Hospitium Anima Lassis, is run by a lively woman with a mane of wavy black hair, large warm eyes, and a nigh permanent smile. Quite unusual for someone around wounded and sick people all the time. She welcomes you to her establishment housed in the clean and well-maintained building. The stench of disinfectant elixirs and urine is constantly in the air. The services are open to anyone, though not affordable by most. Purchase medical supplies in bulk. Buy some coins, change hands, and purchase tools that trained healers can use. We don't have one, but we'll buy them anyway. And with that we will leave the infirmary and the district. Now the market district. Sprawling over a dozen blocks close to the city gate. The market district is a bustling, crowded place where you can buy and sell almost anything imaginable. Anyone entering the labyrinth of stalls, shops, and bazaars, constantly bombarded by a wide range of strong smells and invaded by the competent shouts of peddlers and salesmen. Visit the Calrish Market. The Calrish Market occupies several streets. A spacious plaza on the north side of the district is fixed. Its residents are anything but. Although its location is fixed, the residents are anything but. Because of the nomadic lifestyle of the Calrish, no tribe or merchant of theirs stays long in Tarzag. Yet there are always enough of them here to make good business constantly. Many of them are paddling their ways literally from their backs. The Calrish are enthusiastic hagglers and born deal makers. Variety of wares here are mind-boggling. But I don't know what I might buy. I want. Listen to news and rumours circulating at the market. News and rumours here change hands just as fast as goods and wares do. That said, you will have to open your purse if you hope to hear anything new. And even then, there are no guarantees. Spend some coin. There are quite a few interesting things to pick up. Hopefully you can make good use of it. Sprawling over a dozen blocks close to this, there's news, okay. The market district is bustling, crowded, etc. Alright, so we will seek out Braxia's store. You make your way to the part of the market district that lies just east of Calrish Market. It takes a while to locate the statue of Comitatus overlooking a dried-up fountain carved of dark stone. But when you do find it, you can see the shop is indeed right where Agos said it would be. Huddled between two taller, decrepit buildings, Braxia's storefront is not much to look at. Only his name is written on the slab above the doorway. No sign, no display, no stall, nothing. Inside is a dark little room with a dirty counter, a strange odour, nondescript trash that barely passes for wares, and a demonkin fellow, fiddling absent-mindedly with some gadget. He looks up as you enter. "What can I do for you?" he asks with a ghoulish grin. He can't help it. He has pointed teeth, a big nose, and a crown of jagged horns that not only adorns the top of his head, but also the sides of his jaws. His eyes burn with a pale orange light, and he is surrounded by an almost palpable aura of nervousness. Surely this cannot be the man you are guided to. Are you Braxius? Oh yeah, in the flesh. Braxius bows his head theatrically. You explained to him that an old wanderer called Agos told you to come to him if you wanted to find the right people for a Comitatus. Braxius smiles his fiendish smile upon hearing your story. Indeed, I do specialize in connecting such people. I might have someone who you will find useful and even help you in getting them to join you. And Agos, so there, everyone wins. Ask him who he can get and what this will cost you. There's a lady with a very special skill set I have in mind for you. Not only is she really good at finding her way across the wasteland, but also comes in handy in a fight and can track down basically anyone, or so they say. She's a bounty hunter. I was told she's looking for a Comitatus to join, so that she can traverse the realms and claim bounties as she does. I also heard that she may have some kind of connection to the Imperials, but you'll have to ask her about that yourself. Her name is Krifta. When you ask him what you owe him for this, he simply shakes his head. Nothing, like I said. I owe Agos, and he told me that I can pay him back by aiding people he sends to me. Odd, right? Well, not so much, really. At any rate, I can arrange a meeting with Krifta. Yes, please do. Is that Krifta? Minutes after you tell Braxius that you wish to meet this Krifta, he has closed down his shop and is leading you to where you can talk to the woman. You soon arrive at a stinking watering hole at the end of an alley, somewhere between the market district and an Undercity. The sign has a feeding carrion bird on it. Underneath, crooked letters spell out the name, the Grinding Gizzard. You find a quiet table in the corner while Braxius gets you a couple of drinks. By the time you finish the first, a woman walks up to you with a strange gait and greets you. Krifta looks like a cross between a human and some kind of carrion bird. Clearly the result of the taint. She observes you with large beady eyes and clacks her beak before addressing you in an almost chirping voice. So, they'd say you are recruiting. Are you in need of a scout and tracker? Then I can offer my services. Krifta here has been all around the continent. She's tough as nails, and knows how to hunt down beasts, and even men, as Braxius. It's true what the demon spawn says, Vagrus. But I can see you have questions, Krifta says, clacking her beak a few times. I do have questions for you. Krifta lets out a strange squawk that might be a chuckle. Ask away, Vagrus. Ask about her past. Krifta shifts uncomfortably in her chair. Very bold, Vagrus, very bold. Trust is not something easily earned, and I am not sure I trust you enough to divulge old stories and old secrets. Braxius assures her that you only wish to hear a general outline. Don't mean to pry. All right, then. The bounty hunter clacks her beak and cocks her head to one side. I was not always a bounty hunter, or mercenary, obviously. I used to live out in the wasteland. Used to hang out with bandits and even worse filth. I had to survive, and I always did. Eventually, I got fed up with being ordered around by brutes, so I left. Figuring I can use my skills to survive on my own, and even make a living. Krifta crosses her arms. And so I started hunting beasts and people too. There's not much difference, Vagrus, really. And yes, the irony of that considered how I look does not escape me. That has become my profession, and I'm proud to be good at it. Might be other things he wants to talk about. Ask her about skills and abilities. I am handy with a bow. I use it to down most of my prey, be it man or beast. She muses for a while before going on. So yes, I am a hunter, a tracker, and a survivalist. I have all the related skills, ones that help out here the most in the Broken Land. He's being modest, Captain, Braxius intervenes. Actually, Crifter here is quite a renowned bounty hunter and marksman. Also, a huntress like her in your crew can provide all kinds of benefits, like allowing you to save on supplies. She gets fresh food regularly. Crifter does not say anything, just bows her head slightly. Other things to talk about? The connection with the Empire. Upon hearing the question, Crifter looks markedly at Braxius, but it is difficult to tell what she thinks. I work for the Empire often, she looks back at you, and so I have a good reputation with Imperial bounty hunting associations. I also may owe a certain official a favour or two. Nothing that would get you in trouble. But I may have to work on the side when we stop here and there. I figure it would be part of our operation. Anything else? Why did she want to be on the road? I thought it was quite obvious, Crifter says. My work is that of a bounty hunter, and takes me across the wasteland to faraway places all the time. Prey flees and tries to hide out there, most of the time. I often travel alone, but lately I have had rough encounters on the road, so I figured it worth teaming up with others. Your Comitatus seems promising. That is all. Yes, we will pay you 3 lerg. And take you on. Excellent, Crifter says as she pockets the coins. I'll buy rations and gear for the road with this. Also, there is a job I was offered, Vagrus. You might be interested in becoming partners. We can talk about this later. I'll meet you at the Mansio. The sooner we leave this city, the better. She leaves as you down the rest of your drink. Braxius asks you to return to his shop with him. When you arrive, he turns to you. Now that Crifter's business is taken care of, I can help you recruit another fellow. There are 2 options, in fact. Want to hear me out? Yes, indeed. Alright, good. So there are 2 fellows here in Tarzag that I could put you in contact with. Both have their own problems, so to say, they are trying to solve. I can help you solve their problems for them. One, that is. I mean, I can help you with one of the 2. And you'll owe me for this. Ask him about the 2 individuals in question. One is a dwarf and a particularly nasty one, but at that, don't get discouraged. Given the right motivation, all that nastiness can be directed towards your foes, Captain. He is a specialist when it comes to dwarfy stuff. You know, scrounging, smuggling, hoarding. Business in general. And he's connected. He knows a lot of people in low places, huh? Demon King Pawnbroker scratches at the base of his horn before continuing. The other one is an orc, and a tough one even for his kind. He's somewhere else a celebrity around these parts. Won a few gladiator tournaments a few years back, but then he started to train folks who wants to become warriors rather than warrioring among themselves. Guess now he's fed up with that. Yes, I'm interested in the orc. Braxius gives you one of his predatory smiles. Good. As I've said. Gorgoro is an orc, and as you'd expect, quite a warrior. Somewhat of a celebrity in the city even, though according to him his gladiator days are behind him now. However, one of his associates got himself in some kind of trouble when powerful people, and now he has to answer for it. Since the guy is technically a Lannister, he was given the opportunity to field a couple of gladiators against the gladiators of his accusers. And should he win, clear his name. However, he himself could not step into the arena, and only Gorgoro stepped up to defend him. Meaning they are 2 gladiators short. But I can get 2 fellows to round out the team. You win the fight using them, and thereby make Gorgoro indebted to you. He wanted to leave Tarzag anyway, and you would owe me a favour as I've indicated. Well, you hadn't, but that's fine. You give it a thought for a few moments. Braxis clears his throat. Agree. Now we're talking, Captain. The pawnbroker claps excitedly. All right. You just go about your business now. I need an hour or so to get things done. When you feel like it afterwards, make your way to Dryas Gladiator School here in the Market District. In the southwest corner, talk to Dryas and Gorgoro and offer them 2 gladiators for the upcoming match. When they ask why you do this, simply say that you want to recruit Gorgoro before you leave the city. Then you only have to win the match. The 2 fighters I'm getting you will show up by then. I believe the Orc will need little convincing to join your crew after that. You nod and prepare to take your leave, thanking Braxius for his aid. Don't thank me yet, Captain. And before you forget, you'll owe me, and a day will come when I'll need your aid. He winks and sits down behind the counter. Out of the shop and on the street again. Go to Dryas compound. The compound that houses the Gladiator School of Dryas is in the southwest end of the Market District. A fairly scarcely populated part of the city. Well, between dilapidated houses, the sturdy buildings of the school are surrounded by tall stone fence. One would expect to hear commands shouted at the trainees or the clamour of practice weapons, but there is only silence. Standing at the single entrance gates of the compound, you can see that you will be able to enter without being hindered. Enter. You walk into the atrium that serves as the main hall and call out loud if anyone is there. In the poor light, provided by a few braziers and twinkling crystal lamps, you notice a man enter and walk slowly towards you. Salve, he says without enthusiasm. I'm afraid I cannot help you. The school is all but closed. The man is wearing leather armour in the imperial style, complete with a gladius and a pugio hanging from his belt. His bitter face is framed by balding hair turned grey. This must be Dryas, the school's owner. A large shadow appears in one of the archways. You cannot see the person it belongs to, only feel the intimidating presence. Inquire what happened to the school. Dryas sighs in exasperation. I'm sorry, it's just that I've told this story so many times. It is slowly getting to me. In short, we had an unfortunate accident in which one of my trainees got hurt. The son of an influential man, a Tarkian diplomat, who has the ear of some of the city's leaders. The man is out for revenge, even though his son made the mistake, not the school. Now he is out to destroy me. The instructors have left. I paid exploitive fines several times. I lost most of my trainees. You can feel the gaze of the shadowy figure pierce you, even though, Dryas says, sitting down on a stone bench. I was given a chance to clear my name. I would have to win a gladiatorial match without gladiators. Not entirely without gladiators, the voice growls from the shadows. You watch as a huge orc stalks into the atrium and leans against a pillar. This is Gorgoro, a friend of mine. Dryas indicates the orc. Who sent you here? The large warrior asks coolly. Have you come to gloat? To offer a laughable prize for the school? You tell them you have no such intention. You are a Vagrus who heard of Dryas' unfortunate predicament. Ah, well, you've got to forgive Gorgoro here. He is very protective of his friends. The instructor tells you. As you can see, we are in no position to be of any service right now, so if you'd excuse us. Offer your help in the upcoming match, Dryas faces, knowing that Braxius will back you. You inform the surprised Dryas and Gorgoro that you have 2 fighters who can step into the arena along Gorgoro. In exchange, you ask the Orc Warrior to work for you. It takes only the exchange of a few hushed words between the two before Gorgoro accepts. I was about to leave this city anyway, and I would be honoured to work for you, Vagrus. Accept Gorgoro's offer and pledge yourself to help them in the arena match. Right. Dryas shakes your hand. Now I'll go set up the match with those bastards. I'll need you to be at the Hortius Gerdy's fighting pit the next morning. It's where Legio crosses Vagrus Square. Make sure your fighters are well rested too. We'll have a rough meeting. Gorgoro slaps you on the back as he walks out of the atrium with a grin. Alright. And we end the day. You leave and spend the rest of your day preparing for the match. Next morning you arrive at the agreed upon place. Dryas and Gorgoro are already there. The horseshoe-girding fighting pit is a small arena, built of grey stone, where the Legio March Avenue crosses Vagrus Square. It's an old building, even somewhat crumbling. The stage has seen its heyday before the large colosseums were built in the city and claimed the crowds. Today it is used for small matches. District fighters compete for local recognition, and some executions are conducted by pit fighters. And of course, altercations like Dryas are settled here as well. It is a chill morning. Dryas and Gorgoro are standing at the entrance arch, and you greet you curtly. The orc is brimming with energy, but the instructor looks like he hasn't slept at all. You are here, Dryas says, and you catch a hint of admiration in his voice. I am honoured. Let's do this. You enter the building. After entering through the crate arch and following the others down some dark corridors, you ascend a set of stairs and arrive at a premium seat box. And that is where you meet Praetor Paulus Antius. A small aging magistrate sits on his high-backed chair with a bored expression, wrapped in furs against the chill air. Overseeing this matter is clearly a great inconvenience for him. A tall, thin fellow in a turban, colourful clothes, and expensive jewellery is buzzing around the praetor, whispering in his ear constantly, "This must be the man who Dryas has wronged, and now has to face." The instructor walks up to them while Gorgoro and you stay back. He speaks to them briefly, and you can see both the indifference on the face of the praetor and the contempt on the face of the Tarkian diplomat. Then you spot a boy of 10 or 12 in Tarkian garb standing behind the row of chairs. His left eye and forehead are bandaged. He is holding a hand of a little girl with shaggy brown hair and large eyes. Dryas walks over to the little girl, kneels down and hugs her. She says something to him and strokes his rough face. His daughter, Gorgoro growls in a low voice. You can feel his seething rage. She was taken by the praetor until the matter is resolved as leverage. Disgraceful. Dryas joins you shortly. You accompany Dryas and Gorgoro below for the preparation hall. You descend into the cavernous hall, where gladiators and pit fighters prepare for their fights. Faded training dummies, broken practice weapons, and discarded fighting gear clutters the room. An archway to the right is closed by a portcullis, but beyond, the filthy sand of the arena is clearly visible. Fractious fighters await you here, all prepared for a fight. The two fighters Braxus sent are no joke. They look more like thugs, but everything about them, their posture, gaze, cruel weapons, tells you of brutality, and that is just what you need now. You exchange words with them, and they assure you that they will follow Gorgoro's lead. Dryas goes on preparing Gorgoro, but the orc shoots down his attempts at coaching him quickly. Remember how I'm a champion of tournaments, buddies? Warrior grins. I can see that you're upset, but let me do what I do best. I promise you we'll get her back. Ask Dryas about the little girl, my daughter Drianna, he says, and shakes his head. It's a damn tragedy, right? Father unable to protect his daughter, but don't mind me, Vagrus. She will come to no harm, they swore. Well, they had to keep her, you see, in case I decided to run for it instead of facing my accuser. Ask about the boy. Alright, Dryas begins. Losing an eye is just terribly unfortunate, yet the boy was sent to the school by his father. Partly to cut back from his attitude, and it was his attitude that got him too cocky in the sparring, which resulted in injury. You can see that the instructor feels sorry for the boy, but also considers himself beyond fault in the matter. He's a good kid, he adds. shaking his head sadly. Ask Gorgoro about what happened, what to expect. 3 gladiators, the large orc says, while putting on his breastplate. And no pushovers either. These are all 3 veterans of the arena, Vagrus. Hope your guys are up to it. There will be a Murmilo, a Veles for sure. There's a tough shielded opponent and a spear and buckler guy. Discuss tactics briefly. I already told your fighters to give me some space in the beginning. I can charge the bastards, but I need a clear path ahead of me for that to work. Ready, leave the fight in the let the fight in the arena commence. You and Dryas take your places at the gates to be able to see everything. Your fighters walk into the arena, led by the snarling Gorgoro. He raises his terrifying battle axe high. The audience cheers him. The Tarkian diplomat is shouting angrily at his highest fighters from the seat box. The praetor gives the signal while suppressing a yawn, and the fight commences. Round 1. Ow. I need to select a rigorous jab melee, hamstring melee, should immobilize him, yes. Ogru. Move or cheap shot. Single opponent that reduces initiative, accuracy, and damage. Strong melee attack against a single opponent. Bull rush, move and perform a melee attack that pushes the target back from the front. Or melee. I think we will do a cheap shot on him. Gorgoro. Brutal charge. Is he not able to do it because they're there? Damn it. That was a mistake then. Mighty swing. Zero, unfortunate. Loriak's turn. That's him hurt. Ooh, that sucked. And Loriak again, I guess. Gorgoro. Faded. Not good. Ogu. Nothing. Ow. This is not looking good. He keeps evading. That's not good. Gogoro. Please stop evading. And that was 0 damage. I think we're going to lose, honestly. Gogoro. Mighty swing. Are you any good at all, Gogoro? You don't seem to be. Well, at least was a critical 5. Ogru. Can't charge in now, apparently, so that's a waste. Ah, crap. I thought they'd be able to charge in. I guess not. This is about to be lost. Going to be down. He's down. We've done virtually no damage. He's done. He's done. Gogoro and your gladiators lie on the sands, bloodied and defeated but alive. The crowd is booing, but the Tarkian diplomat is laughing heartily. There is no more dispute, no more question about Dryas Honor. You lost. The instructor looks broken. He pats the wounded Gogoro on the shoulder and limps back to the hall, then drags himself up to the seat to hear the praetor's official statement and to get his daughter back. At least that is a consolation. A consolation? In half an hour, after you had sent Brax's men away, you, Gogoro, Dryas, and his daughter are walking back to his school. As you get there, the weary Dryas turns to you. I'm grateful, Vagrus, that you risked your people to help me out. Unfortunate how it all ended out, but the arena is where justice is born, just not today. I'll have to sell what's left of the school now and leave the city with Driana. Anyway, thanks again and good luck on your journey. The little girl waves at you as they go. I can't leave them to their fate, Vagrus. The Orc warrior tells you, so our deal is off. Farewell. Wonderful. The Temple District. Although the Temple District, this part of the city, sprawling over spacious rock terraces in the northwest section of the gigantic main cavern, houses not only temples and shrines but government buildings, and other offices too, lit day and night by blazing iron chandeliers. Its huge, dark buildings loom ominously, reminding one that even below the surface, the gods rule supreme. Chanting echoes down the streets, and acolytes hurry quietly up and down the long stone stairs, carrying with them the scent of incense. The Grand Mortuary is a series of tomb-like buildings, built both upon and into the rock terraces. The main building of this necropolis is a white marble mausoleum with 3 wings, Not the largest Ashkel temple in the Empire by far, but still imposing one. Silent, white-faced novices in dark tunics stand around the plazas and chant holy incantation. This is also the graveyard of the city, at least for those with enough coin to purchase a resting place in the maze of tombs below the terraces. If you wish to interact with the Church of Ashkel, you are at the right place. Ask about Ashkel. Ask a friendly death priest to tell you about the King of the Underworld. They are quite used to these requests, so he immediately shifts into a lecturing register. Ashkel is the god of death, King of the Underworld, who we call Great King, for he is the greatest of kings and rulers, ultimately ruling over all monarchs in death, except perhaps over the Emperor, who is deathless. The elder god of death used to be Tanat, but he disappeared along with the Pantheon after the Calamity. Ashkel emerged took over Tartaris, the afterlife realm where the souls of most mortals go after death. The Great King is thought to be the first of the dead, because he is said to have died before any other being in creation. He has thus unmatched power over those that die, but Ashkel is not an angry or evil god, no. He is the caretaker of souls, and the one that grants peace to mortals after they die. Our duty is to administer proper rituals, and even ensure that everyone gets their deserved respect upon leaving this world. You thank him for his time. See what services are offered. Most people turn to the Great King's servants. Most of them are petitioning for a quiet death, or a proper funeral, or a contract's binding. But the priests are also open to all kinds of requests. Purchase Ashkelite charms. Have yourself and your crew blessed. For coins. -8 lurg. 3 priests gather around you and your crew in a quiet chamber, much like the tomb. One of the holy men leads a ritual, wielding a carved scepter made of a femur. The large black granite statue of the Great King looks down upon you with indifference. Towards the end of the chanting, you can almost feel it's something in the eyes, in the cold gaze. Is it pity? You all rise with a strange sensation in your bones. I think that will do for now. I can't prove I've slain undead because I haven't. Go to the Cathedral of Sergorod, and we will ask there. It takes only a minute to get the attention of a fervent priest, and she is more than happy to talk about her god. The Raging One Sergorod is the god of anger, vengeance, and curses. He is the fire that burns in us against the injustice, as the protector and champion of the Empire. When the traitor elder gods brought the calamity on the world, they committed a sin greater than any seen before. Then, in our darkest hour, our master arrived and offered an ironclad hand to us. Through his wrath we rose again and fight against those who wronged us, and they will curse the day they dared conspire against Imperials. It is known that Sergorod's servants are granted clairvoyance to be able to find traitors and deal with them. We also answer the call of battle in the Empire's wars, and when justice has to be served. Woe betides anyone who tries to hinder the Master of Curses. Thank you for their time. I don't think I can afford another blessing, so we'll move on. And I can't take on anyone from there. Leave the district. And it's time to sell. Huh? I need to buy my supplies. Ooh. Didn't quite mean to do that. Well, I can sell supplies down. $114 it needs to come down to. And then we will be able to merge them. Nine days worth of supplies. Any equipment? We have awnings. Mining equipment. Expensive tools used when prospecting ores. Way too expensive for our taste right now. No faction offers here. We can't afford a piece. Well, we could, but it's using up too much money if we do. Partially defended, so we need more soldiers. There. Right. We have things going to Lumen, Devon. Lumen, Devon, Archerus Quarry. Drosian Quarry. Lumen. We have 3 for Lumen. 4 for Lumen. We have several wanting to go to Lumen. Where exactly is Lumen? Question. Where's Thoughts? Crimson Gate. Dark Room. Not Lumen, but Loom. Twin Towers, which is as far south as we are allowed to go. Where is Lumen? Angred. There's Cabur. What? Where is Lumen? There's Angred. I see no further paths here. There's Devon. Where, pray tell, is Lumen? I feel like we should know. It's asking us to go there. Shouldn't it be on the map? There's Port, Radron, Burnham, Larnac, Arena, Engineum, Dark Abyss. I'm a little confused, honestly. Why do I not see it? Well, if I don't see it, I can't go there. There's Devon. Would require 2 slots. There's Archerous Quarry. Cargo slot 2. Crucian Quarry, which I haven't seen. Lumen. Crimson Gate. Lumen, Archon. Port Viridium. There's Devon, Archerous Quarry, Crucian Quarry, Crimson Gate. Deliver 50 mushroom beer to the Crimson Gate. Let's take another glance at the map, shall we? No, that's not what I want. That's how, I think. No. How do I close this thing? Hello? How do I close this? That's not working. I can't just click to get to the map. Huh? Well, I think I saw the Crimson Gate. Why don't we take that one? And with that we shall leave. Trudge towards the city gates. You approach the mighty gates of Tarzags Shelter. One can see the scorching desert sky loom above the cruel black battlements. Comitatus takes its place in the long line of the vast gate. You notice a lean woman dressed in bureaucrat's tunic. Apologies, Vagrus, the woman says, bowing her head. I work with the Magistrate of Tax Collection. No need to be alarmed. I am here to present you an opportunity. I have a message attached to some documents that need to be delivered to Archon. To a client of ours. Should you take the message, you'll be compensated for handing it over. What do you say? Take it. Thank you, Vagrus. I'm sure it'll be worth your time. Our client's a very resourceful man. Works for a researcher of some renown. He awaits the message in town of Archon to the north, where he rents a small apartment above a tobacco shop on Stillwade Street. His name is Leviantus. With that, she hands over the leather case and bows her head to take her leave. You can see her approach guards, talk to them briefly about, point at you, and then walk away. After storing the case with your personal belongings, you signal the Comitatus to move toward the city gate. And that's where we are locked here. This is completely frozen. What? I'm going to try and fix this off of channel. I'm not sure what's happened here. I think it's a little glitch that we've run into. So, for now, there are links around for other gameplays you may enjoy. There's a like and a subscribe, which you can use to help the channel grow. And meanwhile, if you drop me a line, I shall respond. I've been Yorkie, the Tail Spinner. You've been wonderful, and the 2 hours been hiding. I shall see you anon.